What's up? This is for everyone that thinks about quitting dropshipping. I'm going to promise you one thing. This is not going to be like any other video that you're used to watching about dropshipping, about ecom, because this time you're actually going to learn something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know what you feel like. You think you're missing some piece of information, some strategy, some winning product or whatever, right? Then you watch content about it. Obviously, you do what every normal human being would do. You look for information. You feel worse, right? Because you feel worse once you do watch that content. You watch more content, you procrastinate even more because everything seems so much harder now, and then you watch more and more content and procrastinate. And this is a never-ending cycle. And so to break this complete cycle, right, I want you to understand one thing. These videos that you watch, right, that make you feel worse about yourself and about all you do, everything you do, are meant to make you feel like that. That's the whole point of it, because every single ecom YouTube channel that exists is only there to make more money for the people, obviously, right? It's every dropshipping video on YouTube, every single one, I bet all my money on it, is only there so that people so the people that do post that content make more money from their personal brand, obviously, right? This one too. I make YouTube videos to make more money. I want to make that very clear. Okay. And every single business video is there to make more money. And you have to remind yourself when you do consume content, even right now, you have to ask yourself in the first place, why is this person uploading this video? Right. And so what does the person actually want from you at the end of the day? And so if you know that, right? If you know that all these bullshit dropshipping tutorials and challenges are only there for you to buy their mentorship or the video course, then why are you still watching them? Of course, it makes sense for them to make you feel worse about yourself, right? That's the whole point of it, because they give you a little bit, then you try it, you fail because they haven't given you enough, or they just flex on you with in extremely unrealistic huge numbers, and then you feel worse, and then you're gonna want to buy the stuff that that person sells, the service or that information, like a video course. Obviously you think that that one thing is going to change what you do, but it's not. That's not going to happen. And the most successful people are the ones that are just able to delay gratification for the longest time. That's it. It's all about the skills. Everything in ecom and everything in every single business model out there, because this is truly not ecom specific, is all about your skill set. It's about, you get a little bit of information, you get like 20% of information, and then you execute it. And then you fail over and over and over again, but you keep standing up. You keep trying again and again and again until you make it work. That's what separates unsuccessful people from successful ones, is that people that are always constantly looking for more pieces of information and actually focusing on their strategies, right, on their information, are not only never going to make it, but they're going to quit. They're going to quit so much sooner, because if money is the only thing that you track, of course you're going to quit. In the beginning, you're not going to make any money. You're going to lose money. And that is okay. And that is normal in a business. If you start a business, you are going to lose money, right? Obviously, you can tell yourself, oh, I'm just investing, I'm just starting. Yes, of course, that's what you're doing, but you're losing money essentially. That's what happens realistically. It's all about the skills. It's all about your skill set and actually out leveraging people, because outworking, I promise you, like, work is volume times leverage. And I promise you're not the only person on earth working for 16 hours a day. You're not. That's nothing. That's not special. So outworking someone truly means out leveraging someone. And leverage can be money, other people's time, and essentially skills. These things are leverage. And in ecom especially, it's so important that you develop the skills first, and that it's learning before you earn. In every business, but especially in ecom. Because ecom is not only, like, I think there's a big misconception in what people tell you on YouTube about ecom. They tell you to, like, okay, you do this, you're going to hit your first 5K month, 10K month, you're going to hit your first 1K day. But I don't view it that way. Ecom in itself is a vehicle to exit some company for, like, let's say 7 or 8 figures. That's what ecom is, right? Drop shipping has been for like almost 10 years now, and is truly different from what the original ecom approach used to be. Because essentially it's just selling the same product, competing on price, and it's a race to the bottom, because you're not competing on value and on your offer or whatever. You're competing essentially only on the price, because every product is the same, it provides the same value, and it has the same shitty customer experience, customer journey. So it's a race to the bottom, right? And so I don't look at ecom in a way of, okay, you're going to make your first 5-10K a month, because I promise you one thing: if you want to make your first 5-10K a month, then ecom is not your business model. If that's your long-term goal, like if you're cool with making 5-10K for the rest of your life, then why are you getting into ecom in the first place? Ecom is a vehicle to making 7 or 8 figures, maybe even 9 potentially. Right? That's not like, and then beyond that, it's like software companies, it's all that kind of stuff. But ecom is not the vehicle. Like it's overkill. If all you want to make is 10K profit a month, why don't you just get into sales, for example? Right? It's like saying, okay, I'm gonna go to school. It's 5 minutes away, and I'm gonna fly there. Right? I'd have to technically walk 5 minutes to get there, right? But I'm gonna fly. And obviously you have to get the plane, you have to pay for the plane ticket, you have to get a pilot, whatever, right? So it's much harder to fly to some destination which is 5 minutes away. So obviously, if you do figure it out, if you have the plane ready, right? If you are into the plane, on the plane, and the plane is flying to the school, whatever, yes, then you're gonna get there, right? And you're gonna get much beyond that. However, if you're cool with just walking to school for 5 minutes, if all you want to go to is your school, then just walk there. If it's 5 minutes away, you don't have to fly there. And that's the same thing with ecom. If all you want to make is like 5-10K a month, then by all means, ecom is not the way to go for you. And I would highly not suggest anyone that read somewhere online that you can make quick cash with dropshipping and ecom, and it's going to be a long-term business model, and it's going to stay there forever, to get into it and to just lose all their time and money, right? Like ecom is one of the hardest, more experienced business models. This is why so many people fail. It's because it is very difficult. And there's a big misconception what the original ecom vehicle even means. And so if you actually do want to make it in the long run and make 7, 8, 9 figures with this business model, then I want to show you one thing here. And this graph basically shows you what you expect should happen if you put in the work versus what actually happens. So this basically shows the change as time goes on, as you put in the work. So your expectation obviously is linear. You think that you do 1 rep, you get 1 piece out of it. Another rep, another piece out of it. You do another rep, another piece out of it. So essentially what you think is the more you work, the more you get out. But in the beginning, you don't have leverage. And this curve here is what actually happens. This shows you what work truly is. It's volume times leverage, because you put in the volume all the time here, right? This is essentially what expectation is just your work. But this reality is what actually what basically you get out of it, right? And so in the beginning, if you have no leverage, right, and that's the hard part, is what actually happens is below what you expect should happen. And this is the part which most people quit in. And this is the part which most people are in. And I would argue that you watching this video are in this phase. It's called Valley of Disappointment. You can look it up on Google. It's an actual thing. It's the Valley of Disappointment. I have not made this up. It's basically when what actually happens is below what you expect should happen, right? And the hard part about entrepreneurship and about ecom especially is that you don't know where you're going to have this breakthrough, or if you're even ever going to have this breakthrough. That's the hard part. You never know. You never really truly are able to tell. This is the very difficult, bad part about it, is because most people tell you that you can just get into ecom and you can just make a lot of money very quickly, very easily, whereas that's not true. And it's obviously, if you consume all these videos, if you consume all this content on YouTube, like all these case studies, you're gonna see a bunch of people like, I made $100,000 yesterday, I made $10 million here and there, and then they basically roast you like, well, you do everything wrong, like, and that makes you feel worse about yourself. So of course these videos are made for you to actually feel that way. Obviously you have to understand personal brand is another business model. Like, those people sell coaching, those people sell mentorships, those people sell video courses. Obviously these videos are meant to buy their stuff. So you can't really blame them, right, for doing that. However, you have to understand it, right? You have to be aware of why these people are making these videos, and you have to be very careful of who you listen to. Now, I'm not saying that mentors are bad at all, right? I have a mentorship myself. I don't say that it's a bad thing, but you have to be super, super careful about who you want to work with. And I highly suggest doing your research about each person and asking other people who were into mentorships before joining something or before getting a course or whatever, right? I highly suggest doing your research before joining anyone's something, okay? So this is really what it looks like. It's the value of disappointment, essentially, when what actually happens is below what you expect to happen, all right? So let's actually get into the technical advice, like what you actually have to understand and do to actually make it in ecom, because cool, the mindset stuff, all right, super important, but let's actually see what you have to do. So if there's one super important piece of advice that's gonna like kind of cut your learning curve and just basically not or hold you back from wasting a lot of time and money on bad products, is just to focus on products that already have proven sales demand. Right? If there's one criteria that I would have to follow for the rest of my life for doing product research, is that the product already is being sold a lot of times, and the more the better. There's no such thing as saturation. Saturation is just like, saturation means, for me personally, I look at saturation as proof of concept, because there's always going to be ways and how you can be different. It's just, sales demand is, if something is selling, it doesn't matter if it does solve a problem or it doesn't, if it has a wow factor or it doesn't, if it's emotional or it's not, right? All these things do not matter. If it's selling for other people, if other people are scaling it profitably, then you can too. You just have to figure out how, right? And yes, you are going to find products that are super difficult to actually make profitable without, because, for example, if they have terrible margins, but then you have to be creative, and you have to ask yourself, okay, how can I, for example, let's say you sell something which is super cheap, right? But a lot of people are scaling it. Well, how do you like get people to buy that and then make the customer experience, the customer journey so good that people buy again, right? Lifetime value. You don't have to be profitable up front. Obviously, you should be, right? Especially in dropshipping, you're not going to get people to buy again. Like, probably not. But if you actually are more creative, if you forget the word dropshipping for a second and actually think of what you're doing, you're selling. You're essentially selling real products to real people. How do you make the experience from the first time of seeing an ad up until 1 year after they bought, right? How do you make that whole experience perfect as possible? And I promise you will make money with ecom, right? And then once you actually stop competing on price, it's like, obviously, if you compete on price, the only two ways where you can really make money is if you're the most expensive one or they're the most, basically the cheapest one in the market. Now, essentially, I'm going to correct myself. Sorry. You can only, if you actually compete on only price, then the only way you can make money with ecom is if you're the cheapest one, obviously. So that also means if someone comes into the market that has the same angle as you and actually, has ads that, get resonance, basically he's just $5 cheaper than you, then he's going to get all the market share that you're buying, and he's going to completely outscale you, right? So you should be moving away from being the cheapest one in a market and being the most expensive one in the market. Now, how do you manage to do that? Well, you have to start competing on price, and you have to be different. Now, so the natural question now, if obviously we're focusing on sales demand only, how should we be different? How to be different in every market, how to be different, how to win against competition, even if there's like a ton of it, okay? There's 4 ways that you can outperform competitors, right? And obviously you should include all of these. So the more you have, the better. And I'm going to go through these. First one is you need more and better ads and angles. Second one is you need a better offer. Third one, different channel or market. And the fourth one is having a different or a better funnel than everyone else. Obviously, if you have more creatives, more concepts, and more marketing angles that you test than the competition, especially different ones, right, then you're going to give yourself the highest chance of success. And every person, every human being reacts on a little bit of a different concept, right? So if all your competitors are running UGC videos, like reaction unboxing type of videos, right, but no one for your product is running, like, let's say product like showcase features and benefit videos, like normal regular ad basically, then you might do that, because there's naturally going to be people that don't give a shit about UGC and just keep scrolling if they see a UGC video, right? So all these things are opportunities for you to tap into the market and to test something new, right? Marketing angle is essentially then one step further and actually showing the same stuff to another audience, right? So you basically, and to give you an example, if you have a baby product, why not sell that to pets or the other way around too, right? Because a lot of times, usually those things kind of play together, especially if it's some plushie or whatever, right? Changing a marketing angle of a product is super smart. However, you need to be a little bit more experienced to do that, because you need proof. You still need proof that your audience that you sell to, that angle, right, is still going to resonate with your offer. You need proof of that. You not only need to guess, you need proof of that. It still comes down to sales demand. Now, better offer, basically the offer comes down to having a better structure and having better enhancements than all the others. Structure means like, what is your core offer? There's a couple ones which people run in Ecom. There's buy one, get one. There's low upfront, high shipping. There's bundle discounts, all that kind of stuff, right? You've seen it all around. You need a better structure than everyone else. Okay, so how do you actually figure that out? Well, if you see competitors are scaling and all they have is like a 50% off, like a normal, like boring offer structure, then why not just check out if you can actually pull that off, obviously with your margins, and make a buy one, get one. And then the better enhancements are basically free gifts, which are bonuses, scarcity, urgency, and guarantees. And you need to not only have better enhancements, but actually show them more, especially your guarantee. You need to flex your guarantee as much as humanly possible. And you're going to, again, realize how much your results are going to change. All right? And this is extremely important to understand. This is very important. So how do we also have a different channel, a different market, a different country? Well, the only thing really which you can identify is you just pull up the ads library or whatever spy tool that you use, right? You check if to the country that you want to sell to, no one sells that product or barely anyone, then you can just hop into the market, obviously with better ads, with a better offer, and just take the majority of the market share. Different channel is also possible though. If you want to keep selling to the same country and everyone is selling on TikTok or TikTok shop, why not take that to Facebook or the other way around? Or Google, or all these things. Like, you can be so creative and you're still ripping your competitor's stuff and you expect to print money off of that. It's not going to happen, promise you. And then funnel is a little bit more for experienced people. Basically, it's instead of sending your people directly from your ad to your product page, you could actually have a pre-sell page or multiple pages in between before sending people to your product page. Right? So essentially warming people up, because essentially I've already talked about this ton of times. You know that there's different awareness stages, right? Different people in your audience who you show your ads to are in different awareness stages, and they're like a most aware person, for example, who knows everything that you do, everything about your brand, is going to react to your ad completely differently than a completely unaware person who has no idea who you are. Okay. So obviously you need to have a very different marketing approach to convert these two people, because because even if it's still easy to convert that most aware person with a normal 30-second video ad or just an image ad which has a discount code on it, it might not be enough to convert a very unaware person, right? And you should always try to move down awareness stages and to ultimately convert completely unaware people. That should be the end goal. However, that's very difficult to do. And so you need to warm these people up. You could have an advertorial, you could have a listicle, basically pages that look like blogs, right? That you wrote, and then you just recommend your product. You just talk about your solution, your product at the end, and have a bunch of call to actions. All these things you can do to be different. Now let's actually look at something, because in order to understand which ones of these should you implement and how much do you have to be different, because not just I'm different or I'm not. It's not black or white. It's actually it's a spectrum, I would say, right? It's how different do I have to be? And so in order to understand that, we need to understand the 5 levels of market sophistication. This is what I've broken down here, okay? So basically, market sophistication is how much has the market that you sell to, right, seen this product already or this solution to a specific problem. And obviously, the more competition there is, the more the skepticism of the people goes up, right? So on this axis, we see time, amount, and quality of buying experiences. Go to the right, obviously, everything gets better. There's brand scaling, quality goes up, time and amount of sales basically goes up too, but also skepticism, right? And so this is basically these are the levels of sophistication. So level 1 is something which you should forget. You're not going to find a level 1 sophisticated market in ecom nowadays. This was fidget spinner level 10 years ago. Right? This was the stuff that you uploaded one thing to Facebook ads and you got a millionaire overnight. Basically, level 1 sophistication means that there's zero competition. You're the very first one. You can just get away with saying, hey, we're here, we're cool, and basically get all the market share. Make any claim, right? Brand new market, level 1 sophistication. And you should not be looking for these markets because you're not going to find them. Especially if you're selling to the US, forget it, okay? Level 2 is much more realistic. It's basically making a bigger claim than your competitor. This is how you win in a level 2 market. So essentially, it's not just one monopoly anymore, but it's actually multiple competitors, and they're all trying to compete on, okay, my product is a little bit better because of this, my product is a little bit better because of that, right? A little bit better offer, a little bit better this, a little bit better that, right? Different ads, this is level 2. Level 3 is, obviously level 3 with already much more competition. So you have to introduce a big differentiator that supports the claim and convinces the mind. Okay, so you have to provide something which is called proof, right? You have to prove that your solution to the problem that is in the market is better than everyone else's. And you have to introduce a big differentiator. Okay, so for example, this might be if you have a level 3 sophisticated market, you might actually want to, change up the market or the access channel, right, that you actually run your ads to. Now, level 4 is you have to create a newer or better differentiator or improve on the previous one, right? So this is something which I'd probably, start doing different funnels, because this is a major differentiator, right? Whatever you do, your funnel is always going to be a huge differentiator of everyone else, because whereas everyone else is trying to have a little bit of better offer, you just come in and basically same regular stuff, but you have a page warming everyone up before you send them to a product page. That's going to be a huge differentiator. And obviously level 5 sophistication is something which I would never sell to, right? It's differentiator burns out, audience skepticism is at the all-time high, full-on empathic marketing is now the only option, right? So it's only based off of trust of other people now. So other customers, word of mouth, That's what rocks here. So this is really what like actually makes brands survive over like a 6 months or a year. If you're a dropshipper, I would forget tapping into level 5 sophisticated markets, because this is actually when you try to sell like shapewear to the US on with shrine theme on TikTok ads, right? So this is like literally what people talk about there. It's completely unrealistic to make that work, even if you have a better funnel, everything. Okay, so I would focus on being between level 2 and level 4 in terms of market sophistication, right? And that means every single test that fails for you, you have to figure out what exactly failed and then why. And then all you have to do is never make those mistakes ever again. And if you do this for a long enough period of time, then obviously it has to work, right? Think about it. There's just a specific limited amount, like number of mistakes that you can make. And if you make every single one, yes, it's going to take a huge amount of time, and I can't tell you if you're ever going to make it or when you're going to make it, but like it's logical that, obviously there's just a specific number of mistakes that you can make. If you don't make those same mistakes ever again, if you make every one of them once or maybe even twice or 100 times, but if you then actually figure it out and never make those same mistakes again, then like one day it has to work. I just can't tell you when, but it is going to work. Super important to actually have that in mind, because this motivated me so much in the beginning to keep going, right? It's just essentially stop having your revenue as the only thing that you track, right? Also have input goals of how much you want to get done, right? Or also track your ad metrics, not only your purchases, not only your ROAS, not only your revenue. This is actually going to motivate you so much more to keep going. Reward yourself for the smaller things too. Have fast feedback loops. Learn from other people's mistakes. This is how you make it in ecom. Now, I want to introduce you to a very important topic, which I've been, doing for the last couple months, which is iterative media buying. What is that? The old method, basically uploading random creatives to the ads manager and hoping something hits. If not, move on to the next product, right? This is probably what you've been doing. Maybe you haven't even done that. You've probably just have been consuming content or whatever stage you're on right now. This is, in my opinion, not the best way to do media buying, because hit rates are going to be very, very low. Realistically, most ads are going to fail even if your skills are already developed, right? You need to understand that most ads are still going to fail. So instead of doing this, why don't you track everything possible, like your hook rates, your hold rates, your 25% video views, your 50% video views, your 75% video views, your CPMs, your click-through rates, your CPCs, obviously, your conversion rates of your ads, everything. You have to track everything, and you have to iteratively make ads better until they are profitable, right? So this is here what an iteration process looks like. Let's imagine this is the first round of creative testing. If everything fails here, if nothing is profitable, you would move on to the next product. But you could just go ahead and identify, okay, ad 5 had a very good hook. Why don't I take that hook of ad 5 and make 5 new bodies, and then test again, and then test again, and then make stuff profitable. And that works. If you do this, you can turn profitable with every product that you sell. Everything. It just depends on your skills and capital on how many creative tests it needs to become profitable. But you will. It's a systemizable, plannable process. It has nothing to do with luck. Okay? So that is why you have to figure out your hit rate and constantly track and try to improve it. It's just like going to the gym and how you basically track on how strong you are, how many reps you can do, or like what's your 1 rep max on bench press or whatever. It's the same thing with your hit rate. You should figure it out. You should document it. You should try to improve it constantly, right? Because if your hit rate goes up when it comes to testing ads, you know that your skills are improving. You're getting better, and that's where you should focus on. You should not focus on getting rich now. You should focus on getting good before you get rich. I promise you that. So one more thing, which I'm going to talk about in this video, is I want to identify or reveal to you some myths about ecom and dropshipping in general, which are super important. And I think if these should basically eliminate every single misconception that you have. Do you need money to start? Yes. Is it going to take longer than 6 months? Yes. Are you going to feel worse than now in the process? Yes. Should you run just reps, some basic brand dupes on TikTok ads instead? No. Should you stop consuming content? Yes. Is your ad account going to get banned again? Yes. Are most of your ads going to keep failing? Yes. But is it worth it? Yes. Right? So this is the message basically. It's all going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Everything is going to get more difficult. However, you're going to have more resources, more people, more money, more time to handle your problems, right? So now it's really the hardest part that you're in right now. But I promise you, if you actually track everything that's possible, not only your revenue, if you stop consuming content and brainwashing yourself on how bad you are at everything, and actually focus on improving slowly 1% every single day instead of trying to 100x everything daily, right? Then you're going to actually make progress. And I can't tell you when, but it is definitely going to work one day. And so I want to say thank you for giving me your most important assets, which are your time and your attention. And if you've learned something in this video, then go ahead and write your main takeaway into the comments. Again, thank you for giving me your attention, and I wish you a beautiful day.